Hello lovelies, you're welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'll be showing us how to make this exaggerated tulip or petal sleeves. So we'll first of all have to draft our basic bodies, and I want to create some margins so it will help us with that exaggerated part. I've gone down from the top edge there with 3.5 inches, and from this side edge I am going inwards with 3.5 inches. You can make it 4, it depends on how exaggerated you want this. So I'm going to rule a line, to indicate the margin, and permit me to use a biro at this point, but I'll use a marker later to mark out all the lines that we need to cut out. So I'm done creating my margins, and then we'll move over to creating, to draft the basic sleeves first. I have a tutorial on my channel. You can scroll down the channel to check that how I draft my basic sleeve, but I'm going to just make a run over of that sleeve again because we need every point of it for this exaggerated sleeves. So from the margin I marked, I'm going downwards with 5 inches, and that will be for my bicep length. That's my bicep length. On that I will place my bicep circumference, and I'm going down with 13 inches. That will be the length for the sleeves. So I'm ruling the lines, I'm drawing these lines at the bicep length there, which I use 5 inches, and on the sleeve length that is 13 inches, I'm drawing a line as well. On the bicep line, okay, that we've drawn, I will place half of the bicep circumference. You do well to measure that. And this one is 8 inches, and because I want to give it some ease, I added half inch, and that makes it 8.5 inches. Then I added 1 inch for seam allowance. On the sleeve line too, I am placing half of the elbow measurement, and I'll add my seam allowance. I'm drawing those lines out now. So to create that up part, the cap part of the sleeves, I will draw a line from the bicep measurement to the apex of the sleeves, and I'll measure that slant. Is a diagonal line like you can see in the video, and I'll measure the line and get the midpoint. And from that midpoint, I'm getting another midpoint. So I'm dividing this line into 4 now with 3 points. So from the apex now, I'm using the curve part of my pattern master, and I connect it to the first midpoint that we marked. And then I will use this curve, just watch the way I'm doing it, and I'll curve it again to the bicep circumference. So from the midpoint, you can go up with ½ inch or 3/4, okay? And then you use your curve part to your curve ruler to just use that point to create another line to meet your bicep circumference and the apex of the sleeve. Okay, so the tutorial I have on basic sleeves is more detailed, so you can watch that for better understanding. So now I want to create the exaggerated part. I'm going to extend all the lines that I have here. The sleeve length, the bicep, the sleeve length, the bicep line, and then the margins that we have here. I'm extending all the lines now because we'll be needing them. Okay, so now for the sleeve part, I will draw a diagonal line, slantly from the sleeve length. I'm now using the margins now. I will draw it to meet the first margin, the upper margin that I marked. That's the sleeve apex line. And then from there, I'll use this curve part of a pattern master and connect it to meet the 3.5 inches that I have on top there. Okay, so I just want to blend out this sharp edge using this part, this curve part now, and that's for the middle of the sleeve. Now for this part you can use a straight line, but I decided to use a curve, and then I'm targeting the midpoint of my sleeves. Okay, so I draw a curve to meet the apex, and then turn the curve the other side to meet the arm curve that I had already created, to meet the bicep circumference. I'm going to measure this line and I have 8, which will not be enough for the arm curve, okay, for the armhole. So I need about 10.5 inches, to for it to be enough to go round the armhole. Okay, so to know the armhole, you will have to divide your bust measurement by 2. So your round armhole has to be half of your bust measurement for you to ensure that it will enter without any hitch, without tightness or amendment. And because I don't like so much amendment, I like to work with measurement. Okay, so I measured that and it's not going to be enough. So I went down with about 3 inches there. Okay, like you can see me cuff it 3 inches there, and then I'm creating the arm cuff again, hoping that with this it will go round the armhole that I have on the dress. So when I'm done with that, I'll outline the part that we are cutting out using my marker. Okay, so you're just following where I have already drafted, and I'll outline it with a marker just to make it more visible. And after this, I'll cut it out. So I like to appreciate all my subscribers that have been around for a while with me. Okay, thank you so much for being part of this family. And if you're just stopping by, please consider subscribing. I upload a lot of videos on mold drafting. I like to experiment with a lot of methods. Okay, so do well to be part of this family, and God bless. So I'm cutting out our sleeves now. I forgot to include the seam allowance that I marked earlier, but I'll be adding that when I'm cutting it on the fabric. So I'm cutting it out now, and that's the shape that we have. So this is what we have here, and I'll be cutting it on the fabric. I need to notch all the parts that I need, like the sleeve margins and where it will stop. I'll be adding ½ inch all the way around for my seam allowance. So there it is on the fabric. I've added all the seam allowance that I need. Okay, I made 4 pieces of it and I added interface to all of them. Now for the lining, the one that I want on top will be the soft one, and the one that will give me that stability is the one I added hard gum stay. I use hard gum stay on it. Okay, so that's the soft one that will be on top. So I've gone ahead to sew it. So this is the shape that I have. And then to make it the tulip part, that's the petal sleeve part. Okay, I'm trying to arrange this, and from the midpoint there that we have the joining of the sleeves. Sorry, that part is not visible because of the color of the fabric. So I'll go up with 1.5 inches. You have to arrange the sleeve such that no other part of the sleeve will come in when you're cutting it out. So I'm going up there in the midpoint with 1.5 inches, and I'll connect it to meet that part of the arm curve. Okay, the part that we have the arm hole. I'll connect it using that 1.5 inches. I'll now make a curve from that point to meet the arm curve, and some way behind the midpoint, just like I'm doing it in this video. So that's it, and then I will cut out this line, and later I'll be using this pattern, okay, to make it on the second sleeves. There are different ways to go about this. Okay, so now I'll use this pattern to cut out the second sleeves. Now the right side, facing the right side of the second sleeve, and I'm trying to arrange it properly, okay, to align it well and pin it down. Please always work with your pins. It makes your work easier. So I'll make sure the midpoints align, where we have the joining, okay, aligned. So I'll be cutting out the same thing. So when I've made sure that everything aligns, I'll cut out this part, and that will be it for the second sleeve. I'll do the same thing to the linings, both the soft and the one I added hard gum stay. Okay, so to be sure I'll be having the same lining, I will not just cut them wrongly. So I'm turning it inside out because of course the wrong side will face the wrong part after sewing. So I will align this. This is another way of cutting it out if you don't want to use the pattern. So I'll make sure I pin it and align everything properly. Okay, tuck it in very well. Because like I said, this is the lining that will give us that standing effect. Okay. So now you can see the excess that we have there. Pin that midpoint, the way where we have the joining, pin it very well. And then I'll cut out the excess that we have. And that's the lining for one of the sleeves. I'll go ahead and do the same thing to the other sleeve and the lining. Okay, so there are two ways to cut out this pattern. Either you use the pattern or you tuck it in this way, okay, just for you to see the excess, and then you cut the excess out. But I prefer the one with the pattern, okay, it makes it a lot easier. So when you've cut out the excess, you bring out the lining again, unpin where you pinned, and top stitch that middle part, because of course the thread will be losing because you've cut out that part. So you make the right side of the lining to face the right side of the fabric, and you sew it to the two edges and top stitch. You give it a good press, and after that, this is what we have. Okay, so I've turned it with the lining, I top stitch, and I gave it a good press. So I'm done with the two sleeves, and for the upper one there will be a trimming on it. So that's the trimming I use on the dress, and I'm going to use part of it for the sleeves. So I've sewn it to the sleeves. That will be for the upper part, okay? And then I'll bring in the second of that sleeve, and then I tuck it in. So already we have our tulip there. That's the effect. And then I'll simply tuck it in very well, okay, and pin everything before I thread that arm curve. Now, if you have any excess at this point, you can trim it out. When you're done trimming out the excess that you have around the arm curve there, you just thread it down, like sew the two sleeves together so it will be easier for you when you are attaching it to the blouse or to your dress. Okay, so I'll thread it down. When I'm done threading it down, I'll simply turn the sleeves, okay, the other side, more like, see the way I'm doing it. You will turn it this way, like this, and then you sew out half inch or whatever allowance that you added to your sleeves as your seam allowance. So you sew it out, and that sleeve is done. So the next part is attaching it to your dress. To attach your sleeve to the dress, you ensure that the armhole you have on the sleeve and the armhole on the dress is the same thing. And then you get the midpoint on your armhole, and then pin the midpoint of the sleeve to the midpoint of the armhole, and then you sew it all round. And that's it. This is what we have, okay, and this is how it looks. So give me a thumbs up if this adds any value to you, and subscribe. Thank you.